Not enough for you, eh? Well, you don't have to worry. He'll never say anything to anybody again.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Here you are. Here, this is for you. You did a good job for me. Worth $500.
Yeah. Almost forgot. He gave me 1,000. I think his idea was that I kill you. But you know the pity is when I'm paid. I always follow my job through. You know that.
No! Angeline!
This is part 2 of a series on the internet. This is the bad. We will try to only focus on how the internet has negatively affected the world or society as a whole. The first issue that we face when talking about the internet is the idea of self-curated communication. Previously, we talked about the useful aspects in terms of internet filtering, self-filtering. However, the negative side to this is that by self-curating the communication, it can allow us to isolate ourselves in echo chambers. An echo chamber is described as a situation occurring mostly in social media circles, where groups congregate to share similar opinions. The idea is that they reinforce their own biases and disengage with opposing viewpoints. However, there are 2 interesting articles concerning this topic from 2 major news outlets which have a completely contradictory view of this phenomenon. The BBC wrote an article in April 2018 in which they described the echo chamber as a myth. The article title is "The Myth of the Echo Chamber." It says that contrary to popular belief, we now hear more diverse voices than ever before. Studies suggest that most people do not live in Facebook or Twitter echo chambers and filter bubbles. They then ask the question, so why is global politics still so divided? However, an article released by The Guardian, another British newspaper, on December 2017, just a few months before, they said, echo chambers are dangerous. We must try to break free from our online bubbles. In the Guardian article, they cite a 1996 MIT researcher, Marshall Van Alstyne and Eric Brynjolfsson, who warned of a possible dark side to our newly interconnected world. In 1996, they wrote, individuals empowered to screen out material that does not conform to their existing preferences may form virtual cliques, insulate themselves from opposing points of view, and reinforce their biases. Internet users can seek out interactions with like-minded individuals who have similar values, and thus become less likely to trust important decisions to people whose values differ from their own. Alstyne and Brynjolfsson dubbed this fracturing of the online community cyber balkanization. Ominously, they warned that the loss of shared experiences and values may be harmful to the structures of democratic societies, as well as decentralized organizations. There's actually a great YouTube channel I highly recommend to anyone. His name's Kit Boga, and I'll pull it up here for a second. Kit Boga.
like the same Chase bank or the different bank?
Which bank do I bank? Which one do I bank at? You're asking me? That's a good question.
Yeah.
You're gonna send the money to my bank right now or something? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yes, sir. We're straight away going to send the money into your account. Okay.
So anyway, I highly recommend Kip Boga. He exposes some internet scams in a way that's funny and entertaining, but also allows you to learn how they work. There's another YouTuber, Jim Browning, who does a very good job of explaining these scams in great length and detail. And he has discovered these scams that exist even in Japan. These kinds of scams generally target retired people and older people. And it's quite sad. They often strip them of some of their limited funds in their retirement. Here's a scam taking place in Japan with people calling from India. It's a tech support scam, and they have trained their scammers to speak Japanese.
お電話ありがとうございます。テクニカルサポートからパルビンと申します。ご用件のお伺いいたします。
パソコンにですね、
はい。
オート PC スピードアップという画面で、
はい。
1700システムの問題が見つかりましたと。
Another major issue when it comes to the internet is data collection. What goes in gets stored somewhere. Everything you type, interact with, click on, log into, share must be stored. That data must be stored somewhere for the internet to work. Most services, especially the ones that are dubbed free services, are not exactly free. Sure, you may not pay a monetary expense to use the service. However, you do give up something. You pay to use the service by giving up your data. Google offers wonderful tools for free: email, online data storage, cloud shared storage, cloud shared documents, a complete suite of office software, even your own data collection tools. However, it's not really free in the sense that you are giving up privacy. Google has access to your usage patterns. They take that information and they use it to serve ads to you. They sell your data as a service to advertisers. Currently, that seems to be Google's only intention with data collection. However, it is a very powerful set of tools at their disposal. And once you have enough data, you can go beyond simply advertising. You could conceivably conduct political manipulation. In this article from the online magazine Science, they ask, could Google influence the presidential election? And they discuss the search engine manipulation effect. So this article here is about internet search engines, and it says they may be influencing elections. The author quotes Robert Epstein, who says,
"What we're talking about here is a means of mind control on a massive scale that there is no precedent for in human history. The search engine effect could convince an additional 25% of those undecided to vote for a target candidate."
This research comes from this article written by Robert Epstein and Ronald E. Robertson.
"We present evidence of the power and robustness of the search engine manipulation effect. It can shift the voting preference. It can be masked. People show no awareness of the manipulation."
And as we have previously demonstrated in other videos, Google's curated search results can offer a clear and distinct narrative. Who is controlling that narrative is another question to investigate. How about social networks? We offer all kinds of data for free through our social networks. Some of us use our real names. Some of us use our real profile pictures. Some of us share personal information. a nefarious person could collect a lot of data just by mining social networks. However, the social networks themselves have access to even more of this data. How are they using the data? Currently, they seem to be using the data mostly to serve up advertisements tailored to their users. However, once again, social networks can also use this data collected in order to manipulate their network in political terms. We have seen examples previously of Twitter taking a publisher type role in what tweets appear at the top of their news feed. Is this an attempt to manipulate the public toward a certain political point of view? That is not outside the realm of possibility. Another issue is network ownership. Who owns the actual computers and cables where the information is traveling? As the internet was originally created by the US government, they maintain some level of ownership of the code and backbone of the internet. Only recently was there any discussion of giving up that ownership.
No one really owns the internet, but the US government certainly controls a fair portion of how things run. Now, in the face of growing pressure, it said it would give up its regulatory role next year.
I think there's no question that the concerns about US government surveillance have really blown open the conversation around internet governance, about who is important and who has control over the...
However, people like Edward Snowden have suggested the NSA has a lot more data collection that they are capable of doing and willing to do in order to monitor communication over the entire global network. Recently, Huawei, the Chinese cell phone manufacturer, has come under scrutiny, and one of the main claims against them is that the company, while being somewhat, quote, private, is actually, like many Chinese companies, partly owned or overseen by the Chinese government. What kind of data can they collect from their own network? Well, if they own the network, they can collect all kinds of data. How are they using that data? Can we trust them? This is one of the main questions we have concerning this issue. Can we trust the people collecting our data? And if you thought AI tracking your shopping habits and using that information to serve up ads to you was a little creepy, imagine AI tracking your political habits and using that to manipulate you into voting for certain candidates. Yeah, most people do not want to see a world like that. Another issue we must consider is whether the information we're receiving through the internet is fact or fiction. We must distinguish truth in what seems to be an information war. What was that crazy guy's name? Infowar guy. What was that Infowar guy's name? Alex Jones, an infamous internet personality, although far beyond what most people would consider to be a sane or normal approach to politics or conspiracy, did have one clear point, that we are in some kind of information war, that information warfare is the new warfare. That is a hard argument to ignore, especially considering that he was recently deplatformed and defunded and demoted and disappeared from social media and much of the curated search engines and media in general. It is currently very difficult to find anything Alex Jones is currently working on or publishing. Now, let me be clear. I think Alex Jones is a bit of a nutcase. However, silencing a nutcase only serves to reinforce the idea that they are being persecuted. It only reinforces the martyr complex that they may be experiencing. It only reinforces with their audience the idea that there is an information war, and it only seems to reinforce for the Alex Jones follower that the conspiracy is true. So we currently have a situation where distinguishing fact from fiction is quite difficult. It is up to the investigator to use strong critical thinking skills and tried and tested methodologies in order to identify fact or fiction on the internet. We cannot rely on websites like Snopes, a fact-checker website which has been caught many times with biased fact-checking. We cannot trust the conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones to secretly know what's really going on. We cannot even trust people like Edward Snowden when they are seemingly seeking to simply warn, as a patriot would, the American people of government conspiracy, because it is very difficult to determine fact from fiction in today's world. This challenge may not be new to the internet. However, the internet offers such a vast amount of information at our fingertips that we can easily find an answer to a question we're looking for that agrees with our opinion. Again, that is the idea of the echo chamber. We are reinforcing our own biases. This is a huge danger in the internet age.
A core principle and requirement of a fulfilled human being is the ability to inquire and create constructively, independently, without external controls.
At this point, you may be ready to close the door on the internet. But not so fast. We haven't got to the fun part yet.
But...
The ugly. Yeah.
I'm very sorry, but the store's closing.
The ugly, as it is called in this movie, and which I will be describing as the ingenuity, the cleverness, the shrewdness of the internet savvy user. It is amazing the things you can accomplish with a little education and a lot of ingenuity. But you must come back next week, so see you then for more the internet, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Cartridges.